Okay, so I've never done this before, so it's a little weird. The reason that I'm doing a live blog today is this is probably the busiest time of year for me at home and at work. And I am literally not going to have an opportunity to do any sort of season recap or playoff preview tomorrow, Tuesday, or even Wednesday for that matter. Fortunately, right now my son is napping and my wife is upstairs doing a craft with our daughter. So I have a few minutes to do a live video. I'm sorry that this won't have any clips or anything like that in it, but I just don't have enough time to film, import, edit, export, and upload a video right now. So this is going to have to do. So bear with me. The main reason I wanted to make this video is because I wanted to talk about the Oilers' potential first round playoff series with either San Jose or Calgary. Now, as everyone knows, if the Oilers win in any fashion tonight, whether regulation, overtime, or a shootout, and the Ducks lose, the Oilers will win the division. Regardless, they're going to have home ice advantage in the first round. So, what I wanted to do was make a rather bold claim that I probably wouldn't have made even a month ago, I guess, and that is that it doesn't matter who the Oilers play, Sharks or Flames, they're going to win their first round series. Beyond that, I'm not sure. But as far as the first round goes, there's three reasons that I feel that way. The first one is that young teams need to learn to lose. If you've ever read Gretzky's 99 Stories of 99, Stories of the Game, you may have even heard this story. It's about the 83 Oilers and how, although they had probably a more skilled team than the Islanders that year, they lost the Stanley Cup final in 5 games. And there's the infamous story about Kevin Lowe or Wayne Gretzky or whoever it was, Glenn Sather, walking by the Islanders dressing room, seeing all these guys with ice packs on and almost looking downtrodden after they'd won, and that was the moment they realized that's what it takes to win. And I'm a big believer that young teams need to learn to win. It's a cliche, but that's because it's true. If you look at the Leafs this year, they're a prime example of this. Not even just going up and down in streaks game to game, but even within the game, blowing big leads late or coming back from deficits late in games. Last night was a prime example of that, letting in that fluky goal and then scoring 3 goals and storming back to win and clinch a playoff spot. What's interesting about the Oilers is, despite having a rather young and inexperienced core, they have been very businesslike all year. And that's probably the thing that has stood out the most to me about the Oilers this season is their professionalism. And that's so strange to say because they were probably the least professional organization in sports 24 months ago. But I saw a motivational poster. I don't even know where I saw it, sometime last week. And it said, "No one has ever fallen off the center." And the point that it was trying to make is that if you never live on the edge, if you never take any risks, well, you don't have to worry about anything bad ever happening. The Oilers have been very much like that this year. They have been right in the center. They've been on an even keel all year. They've been remarkably consistent. Even early on in the season when they lost 5 in a row, I think it was late October, maybe early November, I'm not sure. Even when they went on that losing streak, they weren't playing that badly. They gave up a few late goals, games that probably could have gone to overtime, and they just happened to lose a few in a row and not pick up the points. There have been other times in the season where they haven't played as well, and they've gotten some points, but all in all, it has evened out, and they have been in a playoff spot all season. I think they've been in the top 13 or 14 teams in the league all season. It's just been remarkably consistent, and so I don't think that they're going to be a team, a young team, that rides huge emotional highs and then is also susceptible to really deep lows. That's the first reason I feel that they're going to win the first round series. The second, and this should come as no surprise to anyone, is McDavid. He is playing at a level right now that I have not seen from a player in 3-4 years. As the games have taken on more importance, the checking has been tighter, the penalty calls are harder to come by. He has elevated his game to a place where it almost seems like no one can even really touch him right now. And he's proven during the regular season against both the Sharks and the Flames that they do not have anyone on either of those teams that is capable of limiting him, never mind shutting him down, just even containing him. And even some good, really, really good defensemen this year have struggled. If you saw Doughty, not last game, but the game before against LA, he just walked around him. He didn't even have to make a move. He just skated right past him. And so if he's making defensemen of that caliber look like that, I don't think that either of these teams has an answer for that. And this is really going to be magnified because the Oilers have home ice advantage. So in 4 of the potential 7 games, the other team is not going to be able to put out their very best option, which I already said I don't feel is even sufficient, against Connor McDavid. And the third point I want to make ties right into that, and that is the home ice advantage. And I don't mean actually on the ice, I mean the home rink advantage. That building is going to explode during the playoffs. It will be off the charts, literally. I remember they used to have the decibel meter that would measure the sound in Rexall Place during the playoffs. And I know I said earlier that, you know, the Oilers aren't really one of these teams that rides these highs really high. I'm not talking about the Oilers. I'm actually talking about whoever they play. I think that the crowd is going to rattle the opposition. I remember being at Rexall back in 2003 when they played the Stars, and it was Game 3. Dallas was leading 1-0 going into the third period. They had it pretty much under control. This was a Dave Tippett coach team. They knew how to lock it down in the third period. And I think maybe 4 or 5 minutes into the third, George Laraque scored a goal, and I thought the roof was going to come off the place. And shortly after that, the fans started one of those Turco, Turco chants, and he totally came unraveled. I think Pisani scored a few minutes later, just a brutal goal on him from outside the circle, just over the blue line. And you knew that the crowd was in his head. And that was 14 years ago when the Oilers were, you know, a semi-regular playoff team. This is a team that hasn't been in a decade. So I can't imagine how tense it's going to be in there, and especially if the Oilers jump out to an early lead, which we've seen them do this year, where they just jump on a team and they're up 2-0 before the game is 5 minutes old. If you know, the opposition, whether it's San Jose or Calgary, finds themselves in that position, it's lights out. I just, earlier on in the year, I felt that the Oilers potentially could win a first-round series, but just because of the way this year has gone and everything I've seen, especially down the stretch, I think they've won 11 of 13 with just the one game left tonight. It could be 12 or 14. I know that they're on that roll, but they've been playing the same way pretty much all year. So the wins and losses, that sorts itself out. And I don't see any reason other than an injury to someone. I'm not superstitious, I'll say it. The only thing that worries me about playing Calgary, I saw this on Twitter the other day, is Tkachuk injuring McDavid or Draisaitl or Talbot or even one of their defensemen. He already did it earlier in the season. I think he walks that line between pest and predator, and he has been leaning a little too far to one side this year. And so that concerns me a little bit. Not so much with San Jose. They have some guys who like to mix it up, but nothing on that level. But that, literally what I just mentioned, that is the only reason that I can see the Oilers not winning their first round series. I'm really, really excited about the playoffs this year. Actually, just before I go, funny little story. At my place of employment, someone approached me about working some overtime. This is about maybe a week ago, 10 days ago. And I said, sure, you know, why not? That's fine. And then he gave me the date, and it's actually Thursday, and it's in the evening from 5:30 to 8. And so I looked at the potential playoff scheduling, and I went, oh my goodness, this could be the Oilers' first playoff game in 11 years, and I'm going to be working overtime. And I mean, like, I don't work overtime in the evenings very often, so the odds of that happening were pretty slim. But fortunately, from what I'm hearing on Twitter, it looks like it's going to be Wednesday, so that's awesome. I'm not going to miss out on that. Thanks a lot for watching this, and go Oilers go.